Have you ever felt like you've lost the ability to dream? You know that moment when you look back and see the pieces of what you once believed was possible, and now it seems so distant, so impossible. God is calling you to dream again, even when everything inside you tells you it's too late. There's a weight that few talk about, but many carry. It's the weight of silence. Not calm silence, but the kind that screams inside your chest. The silence of someone who once had faith, once believed, once prayed with tears in their eyes, and watched it all crumble. It's as if God has forgotten your name, as if your prayers hit the ceiling and bounce back unanswered, and then you stop dreaming. Not because you want to, but because it hurts too much to keep believing. But here's something that will change everything. When all seems lost, trust in God. Because in the midst of your silence, He never stopped speaking. In the midst of your despair, He never gave up on you. And today, at this very moment, He is about to rekindle something you thought had died. Do you know what happens to a weary heart? It forgets that God is the God of the impossible. It forgets that Abraham waited 25 years for the promised son. It forgets that Joseph spent 13 years in slavery and prison before becoming governor of Egypt. It forgets that a God renews the weary heart, not because you deserve it, but because He is faithful, and God's faithfulness does not depend on your emotional state. So take a deep breath, because what you're about to discover in the next few minutes will shake the foundations of your disbelief. It will show you that spiritual and emotional restoration, it's not about going back to what you were before. It's about becoming who God always planned you to be. And what happens when the wait becomes too long, when each passing day seems to confirm that you were wrong to believe? That's when the heart begins to build walls. Walls of protection. Walls that say, I will never allow myself to dream like this again. I will never allow myself to believe so much again. The pain of waiting isn't just about time. It's about the doubt that grows with each passing morning. Did I hear wrong? Did I invent this calling in my head? And worst of all, the fear of failure. The fear of trying again and seeing everything crumble for the second, third, 10th time. So you fall silent. You stop praying about it. You stop talking about your dreams. How to believe in your dreams again. When does faith itself seem to have run out? But let me tell you a story that will touch the very core of what you're feeling right now. Think about Joseph. He was 17 years old when God gave him a clear, powerful prophetic dream. He saw his brothers bowing down before him. He saw the sun, the moon, and the stars prostrating themselves. It was a divine revelation, not an adolescent fantasy. But what happened next? His own brothers threw him into a cistern to die. They sold him into slavery. He ended up in Egypt, far from everything he knew. And do you know what's most painful about this story? Joseph served faithfully in Potiphar's house. He was upright, honest, and hard-working. And as a reward, he was unjustly accused and thrown into prison. 13 years passed between the dream and its realization. 13 years. Imagine Joseph there, in the darkness of the prison, remembering the dream God had given him. Did he think, I heard wrong? Did he question whether God had changed his mind? But here is the secret Joseph discovered, and you need to understand, God has not given up on you. And even when everything around you screams the opposite. Joseph didn't know it, but every betrayal, every injustice, every tear shed in that prison was shaping the man who would be able to rule a nation. God wasn't late. He was working behind the scenes, preparing not only Joseph, but the entire stage for the fulfillment of the promise. And look how incredible. On the day Pharaoh had the dream that no one could interpret, God remembered the cupbearer Joseph had helped in prison. A single memory changed everything. In 24 hours, Joseph went from prison to the palace. So, when you feel that God has forgotten you, remember, faith to dream again. It doesn't stem from the absence of pain, but from the certainty that God is writing a story far greater than your eyes can see now. The delay is not denial, it's preparation. But there's a moment in the midst of all this silence when something changes. It's not dramatic. It doesn't come with thunder or signs in the sky. It's subtle. It's like a whisper you almost ignore but can't forget. It is God's calling that echoes inside your chest, even when your mind has already decided it's over. You know when you're going about your daily routine, working, cooking, driving, and suddenly that thought comes. That desire you tried to bury but that keeps coming back. It's not nostalgia. It's not your stubbornness. It's God nudging your heart again, saying, "Hey, we're not finished with this conversation yet." It's hope in God to start over, planting a seed right in the middle of your emotional desert. Elijah knew this kind of moment. After an incredible spiritual victory on Mount Carmel, he collapsed. He fled in fear of Jezebel, hid in a cave, and said to God, "That's enough, Lord. Take my life." He was exhausted, discouraged, wanting to give up on everything. And what did God do? He didn't come with a reprimand. He didn't come demanding anything. He came with a gentle and delicate voice, a whisper. And in that whisper, Elijah heard his name. He heard the call again. That's what God is doing right now. He's not shouting. He's whispering your name in the midst of your weariness. He's saying, "I still have plans for you. I still have a purpose in your life." God is calling you to dream again, not because the first dream failed, but because I want to show you that my ways are higher than yours. And here's the part that will affect you. This calling doesn't come to those who are perfect. It comes to those who are broken. It comes to those who have already given up. It comes to those who think they don't deserve another chance. Because God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And if you're still breathing, there's still a calling echoing in your direction. Then something beautiful and painful happens at the same time. You start to remember. You remember when you believed with simplicity. You remember the prayers you said without doubting. You remember the faith that once moved mountains within you. And it's strange, because now it seems so distant. But at the same time, it seems that that version of you never truly died. It was just waiting, starting over with faith in God. It's not about pretending the pain didn't exist. It's about recognizing that the pain was part of the process. It's like Peter, after denying Jesus 3 times. He could have given up on everything. He could have gone back to fishing and forgotten the calling. But Jesus went after him. He asked 3 times, "Do you love me?" And in each answer, Peter had the chance to rebuild his faith, to remember who he was before the fall, to understand that how to regain faith in dreams, it has to do with returning to the presence of the one who called you in the beginning. Sometimes we think we've lost faith, but the truth is, it's just been hidden beneath a mountain of disappointments, beneath promises that weren't fulfilled the way we expected, beneath the weariness of waiting. But faith doesn't die, it hibernates. And when God whispers its name again, it awakens. Small, perhaps, fragile, perhaps, but alive. And you know what? God doesn't care about the size of your faith right now. Jesus said that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, which is tiny, you can move mountains. So don't worry if your faith seems too small. Just worry about using it, about taking a step, even if it's a tremendous one, because faith that is reborn in silence, it is the most powerful of all, because it has been tested, refined, and chosen to continue. Oh, and before we continue, let me take a quick break here. If this message is touching your heart, subscribe to the channel and leave a like, because the more people share this, the more weary hearts will find hope again. And I'm sure God brought you here for a reason. So stay with me until the end, because the best is yet to come. Now come back with me on this journey, because rediscovering faith is just the beginning. From here, God will begin to show you something you never imagined, the true purpose behind everything you've been through. This is where everything starts to make sense. You know that feeling that you went through all this for nothing, that the time was wasted, that the pain served no purpose? Lies, big lies. Because when God awakens his purpose, then you finally understand that nothing was in vain. Absolutely nothing. The truth no one tells you is that the dreams God plants in your heart are never just about you. They're never just about your happiness, your success, your personal fulfillment. They're about what he wants to do through you. They're about the lives you will touch, the people you will inspire, the testimony you will leave. And that's why the path to get there is so difficult. Because divine purpose for your life, it demands a version of you that doesn't yet exist. A version that only the fire of waiting can forge. Think of Paul. He thought his purpose was to persecute Christians, to defend Jewish law tooth and nail, until Jesus appeared to him on the road to Damascus and turned everything upside down. Paul was blind for 3 days. He had to relearn everything. He had to deconstruct everything he thought he knew. And it was in that painful process that God awakened his true purpose, to be the apostle to the Gentiles, to write a large part of the New Testament, to transform the known world. But Paul didn't get there without scars. He was stoned, imprisoned, shipwrecked, starved and betrayed. And yet he wrote, "For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain." He understood that God transforms pain into purpose. Every tear shed, every sleepless night, every moment of despair was shaping the man who would write, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And that's what's happening to you now. God is showing you that the dream hasn't died. It was just undergoing a metamorphosis, because the dream you had before was too small for the size of the purpose God has prepared. You wanted a blessing. He wants to make you a blessing. You wanted a miracle. He wants to make you a living testimony of his power. So when you look back and see everything you've been through, don't call it loss. Call it preparation. Don't call it failure. Call it a foundation. Because when God renews your dreams, he doesn't give you back what you've lost. He gives you something infinitely greater. And now, the burning question. Why did it take so long? Why didn't God act sooner? Why did he let you suffer, wait, almost give up? Here is a truth that will set your soul free. God's timing for fulfilling dreams. It's not a delay, it's divine strategy. God doesn't work with urgency, he works with eternity. And while you look at the clock and think you're late, he looks at the eternal calendar and knows exactly when each piece will fall into place. It's not that he's slow. It's that he's preparing something so grand, so perfect, so specific that it can't be rushed. Because when God moves, he doesn't patch things up. He creates masterpieces. Consider the case of Moses. He received a clear calling at age 40 to liberate the people of Israel. But what did he do? He tried to fulfill his calling in his own way, in his own time, and ended up killing an Egyptian. The result? He fled to the desert and spent 40 years tending sheep. 40 years, can you imagine? When he finally returned to Egypt, he was 80 years old. Most people would already be retired. But it was precisely at that moment that God said, "Now you are ready." Because God's timing isn't about age, it's about maturity. It's not about speed, it's about preparation. Moses needed those 40 years in the desert to learn humility, dependence on God, and silent leadership. He needed to understand that strength wouldn't come from him, but from the God who called him. And when the time finally came, Moses was no longer trusting in himself. He was trusting in God. And that made all the difference. That's why you need to believe in God's plans, even when things seem too slow, because he's not just working on you. He's working on the circumstances around you, on the people who will be part of your story, on the doors that need to open, on the ones that need to close. He's orchestrating everything with surgical precision. And when the time comes, the perfect time, you'll look back and say, it was worth the wait. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Sometimes God's will seems crooked in our eyes. It seems like we're going in the wrong direction. But when we trust him completely, we discover that every detour was necessary, every wait had a purpose. So breathe, rest. Because how to discover God's purpose? It has a lot to do with stopping fighting against his timing and starting to dance to the music he's playing. And then something begins to change. Not all at once, not like an explosion, but like a slow and beautiful dawn. You begin to feel again. You begin to believe again. Small sparks of hope begin to emerge in the midst of the darkness. And you realize God rekindles hope, even in the coldest, most wounded, most disillusioned hearts. Hope is a miracle because it defies logic. It makes no sense to have hope when everything around screams despair. It makes no sense to believe when all the evidence says otherwise. But that is exactly what faith does. It looks at the impossible and says, "But God." It looks at the empty tomb and says, "He has risen." It looks at your broken heart and says, "God brings new beginnings," and that beginning is now. You know what's beautiful? The signs are starting to appear. Not necessarily the signs you asked for. Sometimes they are subtle signs, a kind word at the right moment, a verse that leaps from the Bible and hits you right in the center of your pain, an inexplicable peace that invades your chest in the middle of the storm. These are God's fingerprints telling you, "I am here, I never left, and the best is yet to come." And that changes everything, because when hope returns, life returns. You start smiling again. You start dreaming again. Not with the naivete of someone who has never been hurt, but with the wisdom of someone who knows the God who heals wounds. Dreams born from faith. These dreams are different from those born of excitement. They are deeper, more solid, more aligned with the heart of God. The Bible says in Romans 15:13, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." Do you see? Hope doesn't come from you. It comes from God. He is the God of hope. And when he fills you with it, it's not a timid little hope, it's an overflowing hope, contagious, transformative, and a testament to him. And you begin to realize that the journey wasn't just about having your dream fulfilled. It was about becoming someone who learned to wait on God, someone who knows the value of patience, someone who understands that the process is just as important as the result. And here we arrive at the climax of the story. The moment when the impossible begins to happen, not with fireworks, not with spotlights, but with the unmistakable presence of God moving the pieces that no one else could move. Because God makes impossible dreams come true, not in the way you imagined, but in an infinitely better way. The truth is that fulfillment doesn't come like magic. It comes as transformation. Because the greatest miracle isn't God changing your circumstances. It's him changing you in the midst of them. When God awakens your heart again, he gives you something you didn't have before. Courage. Courage to take the first step. Courage to try again. Courage to believe even when everything seems uncertain. Think of David. He was the youngest of Jesse's sons. No one believed in him. When the prophet Samuel arrived to anoint the next king of Israel, Jesse didn't even bother to call David. He left the boy in the field, tending the sheep. But God said, "It's not one of these. Call the one who is missing." And when David arrived, young, inexperienced, unlikely, God said, "This is the one." But David's coronation didn't happen the next day. He was anointed king, but spent years fleeing from Saul, hiding in caves, being pursued like a criminal. The dream was given, but its fulfillment was far off, and it was precisely during this time of flight that God molded David's heart. It was there that he wrote the most profound psalms. It was there that he learned to trust in God when everything was against him. And when he finally ascended the throne, David was no longer the boy from the countryside. He was a man after God's own heart, a king who knew how to lead because he had learned to be led, a warrior who knew how to win because he had known defeat, a worshipper who knew how to praise because he had experienced pain. And all this because God used the waiting time to prepare him. So when your dream starts to come true, and it won't be because you finally deserve it. It will be because you're finally ready. Ready not in the sense of perfection, but in the sense of surrender. Ready to understand that dreams guided by God, it's not about you shining, but about Him being glorified through you. And you know what's most beautiful? When God accomplishes the impossible in your life, everyone around you will know it wasn't your strength, it was His. And that will open doors you never imagined. It will inspire people you don't even know. It will create a testimony that will echo for generations. And now you are different. You are no longer the same person who began this journey. You have been broken, rebuilt, refined. And what has emerged from those ashes is someone who understands a powerful truth: to start over with faith in God. It's not about going back to square one. It's about moving forward to a place you've never been before. The new beginning that God offers is not a restoration of the past. It is the creation of something entirely new. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here." See, it's not reform, it's creation. God is not fixing the old, He is making the new. And this new beginning is daily. Every morning when you wake up is a new chance to choose to trust. Every morning is a new invitation to surrender your dreams to God again. Because starting over isn't a one-time event. It's a way of life. It's waking up and saying, "Today I choose to believe. Today I choose to walk in faith. Today I choose to trust that God brings new beginnings." It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. And do you know what sustains this new beginning? Spiritual strength to start over, not human strength, not willpower, but strength that comes from the presence of God. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." This is the strength that lifts you up when you have no more energy. That makes you continue when logic tells you to give up. And here's the secret that few discover. A new beginning is only possible when you stop trying to do everything alone. When you finally understand that it's not your strength, but His. It's not your wisdom, but His. It's not your plan, but His. And in that surrender, you find a freedom you've never experienced before. Because now you know, if God is with you, it doesn't matter how many times you fall, you will get up. It doesn't matter how many no's you receive, God's yes is greater. It doesn't matter how many doors close. When God opens a door, no one can close it. And that changes everything. It changes how you face challenges. It changes how you deal with uncertainty. It changes how you live each day. And the most beautiful part, you are no longer desperate for the realization of the dream. You are in love with the presence of the one who gave the dream. And when this reversal happens, when God becomes greater than the dream, that's when the true miracle happens. And we've reached the end of this journey. But it's not a closing end. It's a new beginning. Because now you understand something that has changed everything. The dream was never truly yours. It was always His. And when you surrender completely, not as giving up but as total trust, that's when you discover true peace. Restoring dreams with God, it's not just about recovering what was lost. It's about surrendering everything into His hands and saying, "Lord, do what you want with this. If it's meant to be, let it be in your time, in your way, for your glory. And if not, then show me what you have best for me." This surrender is not weakness. It is the greatest strength that exists. And there's something I need to tell you now, something I've saved for this moment. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed." Do you see the order? First, you consecrate. Then God accomplishes. It's not you fighting, battling, wearing yourself out to make it happen. It's you surrendering, trusting, resting, and God doing what only He can do. And when you live like that, with the dreams guided by God, something supernatural happens. You stop comparing yourself. You stop despairing. You stop envying other people's dreams, because you know that what God has prepared for you is specific, unique, perfect. It's neither better nor worse than anyone else's. It's exactly what you need to fulfill your purpose, divine purpose for your life. And do you know what the best part of all this is? Peace. A peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. That doesn't change with the weather. That isn't shaken by obstacles. Because now you know, if God promised, He will fulfill it. If He began a good work in you, He will complete it. Not because you are strong enough, but because He is faithful enough. So, as you walk forward from here, carry this in your heart. To dream of God is to live with purpose. It's not just about having goals. It's about having a mission. It's not just about achieving things. It's about impacting lives. It's not just about fulfilling your desires. It's about fulfilling the destiny that was written for you even before you were born. And look at this beautiful thing. The dream you thought had died. It didn't die. It was transformed. And what is being born now is much bigger, much deeper, much more eternal than you ever imagined. Because when God dreams through you, there are no limits to what can happen. John 15:5 perfectly sums it all up. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. That's the secret, to remain in Him. It's not about having strength. It's about being connected to the source of strength. And when you are connected, the fruit comes naturally, supernaturally, inevitably. So now I want you to stop for a moment. Take a deep breath and look inside your heart. Can you feel it? That spark you thought had gone out. It's lit again, small perhaps, but alive, pulsating, hopeful. Because God is calling you to dream again, and this calling is not something you can ignore for long. Everything you've heard here today wasn't by chance. It wasn't a coincidence that you're watching this right now, at this exact moment in your life. God brought you here because He has something to tell you, and the message is simple but powerful. I haven't given up on you. I never gave up. And the dreams I planted in your heart are still alive. You've been through a lot. I know. There were nights you cried yourself to sleep. There were days you woke up feeling weak. There were moments when you looked to the sky and asked, Lord, how long? And every tear, every prayer, every weary sigh, God saw it all. He counted every tear and kept each one of them. And now He is giving it back to you in the form of renewed hope, faith to dream again, and purpose restored. So what are you going to do with this? Because information without transformation is just empty knowledge. You can listen to all this and leave it stored away in the drawer of your mind, or you can let it change your life, starting today, starting now. And I challenge you to choose the second option. Here's what I want you to do. First, acknowledge where you are. Don't run from your pain. Don't pretend everything is okay if it's not. God wants you to be real, vulnerable, honest. Tell Him, Lord, I am tired, I'm hurt, but I want to start over with faith in God. Help me believe again. Second, take a step, a small step. It doesn't have to be a giant one. It could be a simple prayer. It could be opening the Bible again. It could be returning to that dream you kept deep in your heart and saying, God, if this is still your will, I place it in your hands. Because when God renews your dreams, He always begins with a leap of faith on His part. Third, share this. Don't keep this message to yourself. There's someone in your life who needs to hear that. God did not give up. There's someone who's in the same place you were, without hope, without faith, without strength. Share this video with that person. Send it on WhatsApp. Post it on social media. Because when you spread hope, you multiply hope. And God uses testimonies to ignite flames in other hearts. If this message touched you, comment below. I believe that God will renew my dreams. Write it down. Declare it, because there is power in the confession of faith. Romans 10:9-10 says that it is with the heart that one believes, but it is with the mouth that one confesses unto salvation. And this applies to everything in the Christian life. When you declare your faith, you prophesy about your future. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos, and leave a like to help this content reach more people who need this message. Because you didn't end up here alone. God brought you here, and He wants you to be part of this chain of hope that we are building together. Now, let me leave you with one last thought. Perhaps the greatest miracle you will experience isn't seeing your dream come true exactly as you imagined. Perhaps it's discovering that God's dream for you was always much bigger than you dared to ask. Perhaps it's realizing that all that waiting was preparing you for something so grand that you simply weren't ready before. Ephesians 3:20 says something that will blow your mind. Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Immeasurably more, not a little more, not just more, immeasurably more. This means that even in your wildest dreams, you can't imagine what God has prepared for you. And I'll tell you something I've learned along my journey: God's timing for fulfilling dreams. It might not make sense now, but it will make perfect sense when you look back. There will be a day when you'll be living the impossible you asked for, and you'll remember this video, this moment, this decision to believe again, and you will cry, but this time with gratitude, with joy, with admiration for the God who never abandoned you. So I leave you with this final word, not my own word, but His word. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. God knows. Even when you don't know, He knows. Even when you are lost, He knows the way. Even when you are broken, He knows how to rebuild you. Even when you think it's over, He knows it's only the beginning. Everything you've been through, everything wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to strengthen you. It wasn't meant to kill you. It was meant to make you reborn. God doesn't cause evil, but He even uses the evil that has happened to transform it into good in your life, because that is His character. He transforms pain into purpose, hope, future. 2 words you thought you'd lost. But here's God saying, I still have hope for you. I still have a future for you. I still have dreams for you. And they are bigger, better, and more beautiful than you can imagine. So get up, shake off the dust, wipe away the tears. Because God rekindles hope in your heart today. And from now on, you no longer walk alone. You no longer dream alone. You no longer fight alone. Because to dream of God is to live with purpose. And that purpose begins now. I pray for you, wherever you are. I pray that God breathes new life into your dreams. I pray that He restores what has been stolen. I pray that He heals what has been hurt. And I pray that He gives you spiritual strength to start over one day at a time, one step at a time, with the certainty that He is holding your hand. Go in peace, go in faith, go in hope, because God has not given up on you, and the best is yet to come. May God bless you mightily, and we'll see you in the next video. God be with you.